They mocked my career. I waited for the perfect payback dinner. The sound of forks hitting porcelain stopped cold. All eyes turned toward me, the table lit in warm candlelight, but heavy with shock. My cousin's smirk faltered, my uncle's chuckle died halfway out of his throat, and even my father froze with his glass halfway to his lips. I had just dropped the one sentence that shifted the entire dinner from a family roast into a public reckoning. I said, "You remember how you all laughed at my career choice? Well, tonight, you're eating the results." No one moved. My sister's fork clinked against her plate as she whispered, "Wait, what?" I leaned back in my chair, the faintest smile tugging at the corners of my lips. The aroma of roasted duck, saffron rice, and a sauce no one at this table could pronounce filled the room. Plates were already half finished. Mouths had praised the flavors a few minutes earlier. But now, everyone sat in silence, realizing I hadn't just cooked them dinner, I had served them their own mockery, plated and garnished. And before I tell you how I pulled off that perfect payback, you need to know what led us here. Because this wasn't about food. This was about every jab, every smirk, every so-called joke they threw at me for years. So what would you have done if your own family mocked your career, laughed at your dreams, until the day you fed them the punchline? My name is Nora Alvarez, 30, born in San Antonio, raised on church potlucks and H-E-B sheet cake. My family believes in 3 careers: nurse, teacher, or something with insurance. I picked chef. In their eyes, that translated to professional fryer of frozen things. At first, they were polite about it. "Cute hobby," my aunt said while handing me a Tupperware of her famous 7-layer dip that has 9 layers and a personality disorder. Then came the digs. "Real jobs don't smell like onions," my cousin Tyler snorted. "Graduate school is still an option," Dad added, the Texas way of saying you've embarrassed the bloodline. Grandma? She just patted my hand and whispered, "We all make mistakes, mija," like I had joined a cult. I did the unglamorous stuff: overnight prep, dish pits, burns that looked like constellations. I learned to break down a case of chickens in 12 minutes and to cry only in the walk-in. I washed chef coats in a bathtub when the laundromat ate my quarters. I came home at 2 a.m. smelling like smoke and time and failure, according to my mother's face. Every holiday dinner turned into a roast. Not of beef, of me. Still chasing that Food Network dream? You know they tip better at the steakhouse by the freeway. My friend's daughter is a dental hygienist. Great hours. I smiled, brought dessert, swallowed the salt. I told myself you don't argue with people who think garlic powder is fancy. Things shifted the night Chef Lucia pulled me off garde manger and put me on the hotline. "You work clean," she said. "You taste before you season. You're poor, that helps." Lucia was a saint and a menace. She taught me to plate with purpose and swear in 2 languages. I started a pop-up on my one day off. No sign on the door, reservations by text only. I called it Juniper and Smoke. 5 courses, backyard fairy lights, folding chairs I borrowed from the cousin who said I'd quit by fall. Word spread. A tamarind lacquered duck that made men reconsider religion. Charred okra with sesame crunch that converted okra haters. A tres leches with grapefruit zest that made someone propose twice. I cooked, saved, kept my mouth shut. No big announcements, no Instagram thirst traps with microgreens, just plates and people. A local critic wrote a blind item. "Best dinner of my month is hiding in a backyard." The next week, a private dining club booked me, then a corporate event. I said yes, then yes again, then stopped counting. The family still didn't know. Why tell the committee that stamped "bad idea" on your forehead? Better to let the food talk. So when Grandma turned 80 and the clan wanted something nice at Aunt Debbie's house, I raised my hand. "I know a chef," I said. "Private." Debbie clapped like she discovered indoor plumbing. "Perfect, but not spicy. Your uncle can't do heat unless it's gossip." I sent allergy cards ahead of the dinner, polite little sheets to collect restrictions and consent to photography. Small print also covered use of comments for marketing. You'd be shocked what people sign when you call it an allergy form. Dark? A little.
Accurate. Extremely. I also printed custom place cards. Front, their names in pretty script. Back, a quote each had thrown at me over the years. Nobody would see it unless they flipped the card. Spoiler, they flipped the cards.
The house smelled like citrus and duck fat. Candles, linen, a playlist that sounded expensive. I wore black, hair tied back, apron pressed. Anonymous in my own show. My crew moved like a good prayer. Quiet, practiced, a little dangerous. We opened with an amuse, a tiny tart topped with a single grape tomato, balsamic pearls, and a whisper of basil. Aunt Debbie popped it in her mouth and grabbed my wrist. "Oh my, this is divine. Who is your chef friend?" I said, "Someone you've never met," and signaled for course one. Chilled corn soup with jalapeno oil, heat level, gossip, a drizzle of crema, and a corn chicharron perched on the rim like it owned the bowl. Dad moaned, not metaphorically, out loud. Mom asked for the recipe and then said, "But not too creamy," like she could negotiate with dairy. Course two, shaved fennel salad with roasted peach, pepitas, and queso fresco. Tyler, the career commentator, said, "This is like restaurant quality." I nodded and wondered what he thought he'd been eating. Course three, duck. The room went quiet. That good quiet. The if you cough, you'll get judged quiet. Saffron rice, tamarind glaze that caught on the skin and broke like glass. My grandmother put down her fork and crossed herself. Holy confirmation. Between courses, my assistant circulated with a little mic. "Mind if I capture your reaction for the chef?" she asked. "People love being the star of their own palate. We got everything on tape." "I'd pay stupid money for this," from Dad. "This is better than our country club," from Aunt Debbie. "I misjudged fine dining," from Tyler, my future ringtone. Plates cleared, dessert landed. Grapefruit zested tres leches with caramel threads like spun gold. Someone actually clapped. I looked at my grandma. She winked. I almost cried into my pastry brush. Then it was time. I stepped out from the kitchen, traded my apron for a navy blazer, and took my seat at the end of the table like I hadn't just orchestrated their collective conversion. That's the moment you walked in on at the start. Forks mid-air, compliments drying in their mouths. "You remember how you all laughed at my career choice?" I said lightly. "Tonight, you're eating the results." Aunt Debbie laughed first, the nervous kind. "Wait, are you saying?" "I'm the chef. Juniper and smoke. The backyard pop-up, the private dinners, the one you just declared better than your country club." I looked at Dad. Stupid money, was it? The room blinked in unison. My assistant placed a small envelope beside each plate. Inside, a printed menu, the wine pairings, and on the last page, their own quotes about my career from birthdays and Christmases past. The same words printed on the backs of their place cards. Dad flipped his. "Real jobs don't smell like onions." Tyler flipped his. "Food Network isn't hiring you." Mom read hers and went very still. "Maybe marry a dentist." No one spoke. The candles cracked like tiny fires gossiping. I kept my voice soft. "You were right about one thing. Real jobs don't smell like onions. Mine smells like duck fat and joy." The doorbell rang. Right on cue. In walked Mr. Crane, the critic who'd written the blind item, holding a bottle of cava and a grin. Behind him were two people from a hospitality group scouting permanent space for my pop-up. I introduced everyone. Aunt Debbie actually curtsied. I didn't know grown women did that outside of historical reenactments. "Your family threw the best dinner I've had this quarter," Crane told the table. "And to think, some of you almost talked her out of it." He sipped. Thankfully, she didn't listen. I could have stopped there, but remember, the theme is payback dinner. I clinked a glass. One last housekeeping item. My assistant set a sleek black folio down. I opened it and slid out an invoice with our crest. Juniper and smoke private dinner. Guests, 14. Service fee included. Family and friend surcharge applied when career advice exceeds 3 comments per guest in any calendar year, 20%. Subtotal, X. Mockery tax donated to the Lucia Rivera Culinary Scholarship for Girls, all of the above. Tyler squinted. "Is that legal?" It's hilarious, said Crane. Dad cleared his throat. Nora, we didn't know. You didn't ask. You assumed. I smiled, not unkindly, but I do appreciate the testimonials. You signed releases with your allergy cards. Your quotes will be on my website tomorrow under Our Toughest Critics. Mom put her hand to her chest. That's petty. That's branding and closure. Grandma reached across the table, took my hand, squeezed hard. Proud of you, she said, voice steady. Also, save me another piece of that cake or I'll haunt you. People laughed, real laughter this time, not the kind that bruises. The tension eased, a little. I looked at my family and felt something unfamiliar. Not victory, exactly. Permission. From myself. To stop asking for their version of respect and cook until the house smelled like my life. Crane raised his glass. To Nora. May your duck stay crisp and your boundaries stay firm. Glasses lifted. The candles kept whispering. And that last thing, the little twist I didn't tell them, I'd booked the hospitality group's lease walkthrough for the next morning at a space 2 blocks from Aunt Debbie's house. Opening night would be Labor Day. Family discount, 0%. Family seating, back corner, near the kitchen, where they could watch me build the life they said would never rise. Tell me, would you have served the revenge this way? Sweet, plated, and signed, or gone louder? And more important, who should I seat by the restroom on opening night? They mocked my career, but I plated their words and served them back. Would you have done the same, or gone louder with the revenge? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you love stories about toxic families, karma served cold, and shocking real-life revenge, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss the next jaw-dropping tale.